So we are live right now. We're going to let this bad boy load up. We're going to see who is on the old LinkedIn machine, who's looking for likes, looking for love, looking for looking for candidates, looking for something, right? Everyone's
looking for something.
What is it though, right? Everyone's kind of looking for something on LinkedIn. I think that's going to be the theme of today. Somebody always looking for something. So the way I recommend all my guests to follow along is to not have it up on your browser because there's like a little bit of a delay, so you'll hear us talking, but to actually use your phone. And if you go to my page, if you go to content, we're going to see who is flying with us right now. We're going to load this up. We're going to get some questions. We got what is it? Mohammed, what is up? We got five and alive. I like to get it up to at least 10, right? Let's feel like there's a party in here versus
feel like something's happening.
Right, like versus a conference call, right? This is not a Zoom conference call. We got 7. Mohammed's looking for new business and not love, which is great because it's really interesting. I mean, I hear a lot of crap on LinkedIn these days about people being harassed and using it as a dating site, which it is not. I've had some weird situations. I even had someone from the same sex, which is all good, no judgment, totally cool. But I had someone from the same sex hit on me on the platform, which was really strange. About a year ago, and it was completely inappropriate, and it was just strange. What is up, everybody? Beck Lover. There we go. Talking about love. There we go. We love it. Rubina's on. Hey, everybody, and welcome. It is Wednesday, the 26th of February, 2020. I am here with my man Nick Gallo.
What's up, everybody?
We are on the podcast live. Welcome, my man.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
What is happening in your world today, dude?
I'm just looking for likes today. I'm looking for some likes and some love. So,
are likes love though, or likes fake love? You know, we're gonna certainly talk about that in a little bit. We got critical mass here. We have reached the 11 people following along mark, and 10 is my criteria to get things going. 10 is a party. Welcome here. So, Nick, why don't we take a moment before we jump into all the fun here? Quick introduction for you. Tell everyone kind of who you are and what you do best, my man.
I am Chief Servant of ComplianceLine. We are a outsourced ethics and compliance company, and we're trying to make the world a better workplace. So we help with hotlines and intake and really tools to help people who care drive their culture forward, find risks in their organization so that they can create sort of safe workplaces for their people. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And where am I talking to you today? Remind me again where in this world you are sitting.
I am in beautiful Charlotte. So No jacket, Charlotte is where I'm at today. It's like in the 50s today. I moved from Chicago, so this is like a massive upgrade.
You never wear a jacket there, except
I mean, I do from time to time. You know, I'm like a Southern boy now, so I'm getting my Southern blood. I'm getting a little bit of a Southern twang, you may have heard, and so if it starts getting into the 40s, which used to be like, you know, t-shirt weather in Chicago, I will throw a jacket on.
Yeah, it's been such a weird winter. We were talking about it too here in New York. I mean, we've literally had, I think, like a dusting, maybe a couple inches of snow. And it's been 2 consecutive years so far, and I'm probably cursing myself that I've not used my snowblower, which I love to use, man. There's nothing more fun than firing that bad boy up and tossing some snow. But I haven't even used my shovels yet, which is crazy. I used a broom to kind of brush up the cars, but I want to see some snow. I told my wife, I need at least one solid midweek. Everything's closed. Schools are closed. No one's going to work. Let's trap everyone in the house, light that fire, and have some fun in the snow. Andy Foote, what's up? Andy's asking if we're brothers. What kind of question is that, man? Adam is the older bro. Definitely beats up Nick when he pleases. We're not going to go there. And it's weird. I don't know if he can kick my ass. I mean, this dude, his hair is higher than mine. He looks cooler. Probably looks about 20 pounds lighter than me. I think he's faster and can take me. Mohammed from Cape Town, South Africa in the house. We love it. We're international here on the show. So Nick was gracious enough. He had me on his podcast. Was that last week or the week before I went to Florida? Why don't you kind of tell everybody about your podcast and the mission of it and what you're trying to do there?
Yeah. So we deal with a lot of people in the ethics space, in the compliance space, in the HR space. And there's like this 90s style thinking that still is applied to these departments that really ends up kind of clipping their wings or declawing them. And that's really what I'm talking about, is them being treated as a cost center. So these organizations or these departments within organizations really have the opportunity to be in my mind, they're the most kind of underutilized asset in every company. They can affect the culture, they can affect the people, they can find out when things aren't going right. But again, they kind of get put into this pigeonhole, and they get put into this check the box sort of, hole in the, it's like it's dinner time, and you give them the little plate and you say, here's your plate, go sit at the kiddie table.
No one wants to be at the kiddie table.
No one wants to be at the kiddie table.
When you're an adult.
Especially when you're an adult, right? So our whole podcast is trying to elevate the ethics and compliance profession and elevate the HR profession out of this check the box to be that strategic lever. So I think over the next decade, especially as this generational shift continues, as more millennials who are they're wired differently than baby boomers are, not good, not bad, just different. We've already passed this tipping point where they're the largest generation in the population.
Yeah.
A lot of these organizations are going to get caught, with their, I don't know how to say it nicely, like they're going to get caught behind the train.
Around their ankles.
There you go. That's what better. See, that's why I need a big brother like you, man. You can finish my sentences for me. So
I try not to, but I will step in when you need to go to the bullpen and bring in the lefty.
That's right.
We'll do that. But I've always wanted to do that in the business environment too. Right. Yeah. Like imagine you're in HR and you have to let somebody go and you have someone in front of you and you're like,
yeah, you give them
that would really rub somebody the wrong way. This is, by the way, not the way to let people go. It's the complete opposite of everything I talk about. I'm just kidding around here, people.
But it would be nice though to you do this and then someone knows exactly what to do.
How do you incorporate baseball signals into the workplace? I mean, that's really interesting too. I mean, you could do it in meetings. I think a great use for it would be on a conference call, right? We always go to the mute button, right? We're always talking and then the client starts talking. Then going to the signals, right? The mute button is a fantastic tool. But if we could do baseball signals, I think it'd be good.
Yeah. If you're in or just like a client meeting, you throw them the slider, you throw them the inside fastball or whatever, and they know your partner in crime will know kind of what angle to push or what talk track to run. There's something here, dude. There's
definitely something here. But going back to your podcast, and I want to talk about Nick's show for a moment here. I do a fair amount of shows as a guest, and everyone knows I host the podcast. You can see it up over here. But I really appreciate a good host, right? Someone who asks insightful questions, someone who drives the interview forward, someone really has a grasp on the show. Because I think in this day and age, it's so easy to be a podcaster, a podcast host, and everyone's doing it. But there's only a few handful of people that really do it well from a hosting perspective. So Nick, I want to give you quick kudos on that. I really like your approach and style, and you drove it forward. Because also at the same time when you're hosting a show, it's also it's a balance of your agenda, right? Because you have a theme and you have a topic that you want to stick with. You also want to drive the guest forward. What are some things that you've learned? And we talked about it when I was on your show. You're a little bit earlier than me in your podcast journey, but what are some things that you've learned about yourself, about the show, and the whole process as far as podcasting?
Yeah, I think kind of holding it with a looser grip has been a good lesson for me. So having a general direction of which way you want it to go, I think, but also kind of giving enough room for it to breathe, that conversation to breathe and go in, a direction that maybe you're not planning on. And I mean, frankly, the podcasts that I like the most are the ones that seem to kind of go that way. They're a little bit less structured. You kind of can get that authentic conversation. And I think that's what that's what resonates more with folks. If it feels like such an interview, it kind of starts to feel like a job interview versus, a conversation that you're having with a friend.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I mean, my journey, in podcasting, I the way I do my show is it's scripted as far as I have an intro and I have an outline of questions or more like points that I want to get to because I know that's how the story is going to go. But lately, in the last 20 episodes, I've gotten a lot more comfortable to your point of if I feel it going in a great direction that wasn't planned, just going there. If I don't ask certain questions there, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. Just kind of let it ride, man. Unless, there's something at the end, which I'll kind of put a big star in front of, which I must ask. And one of the things that I like to do is just for kind of consistency and perspective, I have a series of questions at the end of every single show for everybody that listens that I ask every single guest because I want to hear different kind of viewpoints on it. And how is your audience responding? I mean, what's the word on the street? What are you doing as far as audience building, community building?
Yeah, my mom loves it. So that's kind of
yeah. I say the same thing too. I go to my wife. I'm like, have you listened to? She's like, listen to 3 of them. I'm like, I have like almost 70 shows out there. You're like, come on.
Yeah, can you just kind of show a little bit of support here? So we've just kind of floated them internally into our kind of PR team. We did a bunch of research and found that like you have to kind of stockpile a bunch of episodes for your launch. So our launch is really coming at the end of the month. They're all getting edited right now, and we're going to do a big push toward the end of the month. But we've gotten some positive feedback, both from people like you who have kind of who have been on a bunch of these and they've kind of enjoyed the conversation. And, our PR team has also, they're not like our in-house PR team. So they deal with a lot of folks, and, we've gotten some positive feedback there. So I'm excited because some of the people that we're having conversations with, they've just brought a lot of cool color to this thing. Again, I think we talked about it before, but
right.
There's this kind of these light bulbs are not on over the heads of the CEOs and of the board of directors around these functions. And there's so much potential in these functions. And there's so much there's so many great people in them. And there's so many great ideas that if we can just unleash these guys, we can really kind of make this world a better workplace,
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to something that I talk about a lot in HR and talent within organizations is historically, and going back to what you said earlier in the 80s, 90s, HR and talent has always been seen like the cops, right? The narcs of the company, right?
Right.
Kind of shift the mindset and show how that it actually is a profit center. Because on paper, HR is a cost center. It's costing money to put all these people out there. But once executives change their mindset to say, okay, people are our best product. They are what drives this company. They're everything, and we invest into them, and is our lifeblood, what keeps the lights on here.
Correct.
That's that shift, right?
Yeah, I was talking to Marissa Orr, who wrote Lean Out. It's a really cool book about some of the stuff we're talking about. It's about this sort of next gen thinking about these functions. And she kind of brought up this really intelligent point that was, all these structures that are in place are from the Industrial Revolution, where the assets were machines. You had 12-year-olds falling into the machines, and they were labor units and blah, blah, blah. We're in a knowledge work economy now. The assets are in the brains of the people in your office, and there needs to be certain shifts to the structures and to the approaches to this game to really get the most out of folks. And really, I mean, again, like this cost center, profit center dichotomy is very bizarre. I kind of don't even get it anymore. Like, is legal a cost center? Is marketing a cost center? What's not a cost center?
Every function is a cost center, right? It's just it's a mindset shift. And it's those organizations that get it that are going to attract the best talent, B, more importantly, retain the best talent. And the paradigm that I'm trying to flip around here is, if you invest more into your people and retention, it is so much cheaper to keep somebody and value them and give them solid raises to keep them there and keep them happy versus hiring somebody new and hiring additional talent acquisition or talent access. I mean, why don't people think that way? Why don't companies? It blows my mind, dude. It's
like, it's kind of that chess checkers mentality. It's like, okay, well, to your point, like hiring somebody new, you got that whole J curve they got to go up through. It's the whole learning curve. They got to come on board. They don't know the culture. They don't know the lay of the land. They don't know the products. They don't know the processes. That's a ton of leakage in the system that you can patch those holes by just keeping somebody for an extra 20% longer. I mean, imagine what that does to your bottom line. But it's a more indirect thing. It's not like, hey, get more sales, pound the pavement. Like that's an easy profit center mentality. But to your point, increasing that efficiency and keeping people on board longer is like the name of the game.
Yeah, we don't talk enough about retention, right? We talk about acquisition, or as Joe Mullen, one of my Mount Rushmore heroes of recruiting, we talked about when I was down in Florida with him last week, is changing the name of the game from talent acquisition, which is very transactional. It's almost like slavery, right? Like buying, trading, selling, to talent access. And I'm going to borrow that and take that from Joe once he makes it public and owns it, because access is two sides. And I am the middleman, right? I give access to candidates, to opportunities. I have the access to that talent. And then on the flip side, with my clients, I'm giving them access to the best talent out there. So Joe, thank you for that. I am going to borrow it and steal it right now and work it into things I think Joe will totally be cool with. Let's give a couple of shout outs. We'll pause here and talk about who is on the show. Anshul, my amazing web designer. He designed the new website, thepodcast.com. He is awesome. Just a freaking hardworking kid from India who put himself out there. He said, Adam, I like what you're doing, but we could do it better. And I want to help you redesign your site. And him and I collaborated. He's hardworking. He's thoughtful. He's mindful. And I love his tenacity. So big shout out to you. Adam Sinkus, how you doing, my man? Adam will be on the podcast on Monday with Brian Golod. We're going to do some live resume review and see what that amazing, so to speak, is it amazing template, ATS template is all about. And we will debunk some myths around the ATS template. So stay tuned for that one as well. Michael Venner, I don't know what he's talking about here. Something about running a business. I'm just kidding, man. Yes, running a business, the hardest part is the people. We got to focus on the people. Andy,
Michael is the man, by the way. I don't know if you know him or not. Are you buddies with him?
No. Why is he the man? Why should I consider?
I've just kind of gotten to know him on LinkedIn over the last couple of weeks, and he's got kind of the same ethos that you have and that I have, and just a smart guy, dude. He just has great insights. You know, I've like learned a lot from him already.
That's awesome. I definitely enjoy connecting with good people. And that's something I've been talking about here with you too. You know, we talk a lot about LinkedIn. Let's shift focus a little bit here and let's talk about LinkedIn. There's a lot of observations lately. And I know I may come off a bit cynical to people, but I call it as I see it. I've been on this platform for a very, very long time. I've seen the evolution of it. And I'm all for evolution. I'm all for change. I understand the timeline of social media and things changing. But one thing that really concerns me, and I'm speaking from the recruiter hat here, I have no problem with new people coming to this platform. That's amazing. That's part of the evolution. That's the lifeblood of anything here. But you know, it's their intentions. Why are people coming on here? And if you're coming on here just for the eyeballs and the intention and not doing things the right way, that's not really playing into the ethos of the system. And we're seeing a lot of bad behavior. What are you noticing on your side from your perspective?
Man, my favorite is the crypto guys. They're like these so I'm getting like a ton of those, right? Hey, I really want to partner with you. You're like a great guy. Do you do crypto? And like, you can tell it feels like a bot conversation. Like, I don't think there's anybody actually there. No. So I always try to break them by saying like, if I do like a math problem, like what is 2 + 4?
I just delete them, but good for you, man, for having the motivation and the time.
I'm early in this game still.
It's a game. I mean, you can kind of smell them out also in the connection requests. And I'm trying to be a lot more mindful on my side about who I connect with. And I'll challenge people back, right? Like if someone reaches out to me and they're like, oh, we have so many, I see that we have connections. And this is my favorite. Adam, I see that we have many connections in common. I think we should connect. And we literally have 4 connections in common. I'm like, I got like 11,000 contacts. Like, many. That's such a small percentage. And then I look at those contacts and they're people who are like, you know, not even deeply connected to. And I think that's pretty ridiculous. But what I'm kind of like wrapping my head around and coming to terms with is really there's like 2 types of people that put out content on LinkedIn. They're the quote unquote content creators where it's a mix of edutainment, right? They're trying to educate, they're trying to entertain. And some of them are just entertaining. A lot of it is content that might be considered fluff, which some people love the fluff content. Some people do. Sure. And I've had this debate with people because it's all about value. What's important to you, right, Nick? Like some people may really like light motivational content. They need that in their life. And some people are looking for deep value, insightful content, tactical advice. So there's 2 different schools of thought there. So I've taken a step back instead of being so judgy on this fluff BS content and saying, you know what, maybe some people like it. What do you think?
I think there's like a place for all of it. And I probably put out some fluff stuff from time to time, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think there's a place for it. I think some of it can get like obnoxious where it seems like very trite or very contrived. And it feels like it's trying to like feed, you know, trying to like appease. I don't know. I'm using the wrong word, I guess. But
no. Yeah. It's trying to drive eyeballs or likes because they think that's what people are going to get into, right?
Yeah. I like, you know, for me, I like stuff that's like insightful. I like stuff that's kind of actionable, but I also like to see cool things. Like I'm not on really many other social platforms. So, I mean, I really like LinkedIn because it's like, there's a lot of positivity on it and it's a lot of like stuff to learn. I feel like I get smarter and better and I actually meet like cool people on it. But yeah, I think there's a place for it. I think I would hate if it turned into Facebook, and I don't think it will because there's people like you and, you know, hopefully me who can kind of, you know, be the change we want to see in the platform or whatever. But yeah, I see it. I mean, I see it a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because at first, I saw these TikTokers coming on here and kind of bringing their TikTok content to LinkedIn. And I think that they quickly realized that that doesn't really fly here because it's a different demographic and a different audience. And the TikTokers that came over here, like Jade Vincent, that are winning are the ones that come over here and actually educate about the platform and say like, hey, this is TikTok, this is how it works, how it doesn't work. And they're absolutely killing it. The things that I really despise are the people that are really trying to make this into a vanity metrics race. The people that are just straight up going for likes and eyeballs and connections. And it really blows my mind because, how do you, what's the end game there? Like,
why? What do you do? You can't spend likes. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it.
You can't spend likes. There's a quote from this podcast here.
And you know what's else? I hate the fake stories, dude.
Fake stories got to go, and you could smell out a fake story pretty quickly here.
I had someone who didn't have they had no experience, but I gave him a shot. It's like, stop. Why have I seen that 20 times already?
Because it works. You've seen it 20 times because it works here, and people love that crap. It's really, it blows my mind. And like, I look at it, I laugh, but I've also done something pretty interesting. If I see people that I'm connected to consistently either posting that crap or commenting or following along on any of those type of fake stories or those multi-level pyramid networking posts, I just unfollow them. And my feed in the last couple of weeks has been much more refined. People say, hey, you're blocking those people out. You may miss something. I go, I don't really care, because if that's the type of crap that you're following and into, not interested.
Yeah, and it's just hollow. I don't know if you've ever seen those pictures of those guys who, like, it's not steroids. It's like I don't know what it is. They inject it into like their arms, and so like, or their muscles, and they have like all these weird like comic book looking muscles, but they're not even functional. These aren't like guys who are on steroids who are like actually lifting weights and they're actually strong. They just have like weird like swollen muscles. It feels like there's like a lot of that kind of stuff going on with these guys.
Yeah, I call it fake love and fake optics, right? I mean, it's basically a house of cards, and I really do preach this. I really, really, really do preach this. Do not assume or judge someone's authenticity based on the number of likes, comments, and followers that they have. Based on their content, based it on their real social proof.
Yeah, and I guess maybe the challenge. So I'd love to hear about that some more. Like, what do you consider the social proof?
Well, social proof comes in a couple different ways. One, I think it's real recommendations, right, from real actual clients. Not manufactured clients, not people that you met on LinkedIn that just say, oh, I love Nick's content. Nick is awesome. But it's real clients, and the proof is in the pudding, right? How are you making your money? How are you generating it? But on the flip side, too, there are people who are motivational, right? So how does that relate into real social proof, too? So there's a balance here. Dustin, my man, Dustin Wilshire, what's happening, brother? Dustin has a great comment here, and he says, do you think the reason why people are including more, quote, fluff content on LinkedIn as content because of perceived pressure from influencers to produce daily? If you want to be taken seriously, producing meaningful content on a daily basis could take a lot of work for certain people. Perhaps they are leaning back on fluff. And I agree, because fluff is easy to write. And I've been testing also, not so much fluff content, but I mix it up too, where it's actual content like this, where it's videos, where it's my podcast with actionable stuff like interview techniques and tips also. But sometimes I'll kind of throw in, and I wouldn't call it fluff, but I would call it more thinking kind of posts, like the one I talked about last night with being inquisitive as a key trait in the interview process.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Provoking versus fluff. But the crap around, hey, this guy went from being a homeless guy in the streets to being the CFO, that kind of stuff. That story's been around the block, man. It's a crutch. It's a crutch. People rewrite it. It's lame, man.
Yeah, I think Dustin is kind of hit on something, because there is this sort of implied pressure to like do the Gary V 200, whatever that 200-page document is on how to make
content
from a single tweet or whatever. So I kind of get, I get what he's talking about. And, maybe it's just people getting up their own sort of learning curve. Because you have to kind of find your voice. You have to kind of get comfortable with it. You have to know kind of what works and what doesn't. And it feels weird. I mean, for me, it did, like putting myself out there, like all those things feel weird at first, because I'm kind of a private person and stuff like that. So, if it's just somebody getting up their growth curve, then, I think I have grace for that. But
yeah, me too.
There's a couple of people that I see and I'm just like, dude, like you have way too many people and way too many posts, and it's all fake. Like it all feels like a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying?
It's bad too, and the same thing with misquoting, and there's a lot of that too. There's I'm all for the occasional inspirational quote, but as long as there's two things. One, that you're actually quoting the source correctly. I saw someone do it really bad recently, and I'm like, I think Sir Winston Churchill said it a lot better a while back. People all over this thread were literally like thinking that this person, that she is a messiah, that she is the most empathetic, motivational, and she's really full of crap. Not going to call her out by name, but she's got to go. She's the absolute worst. It's a complete pyramid of pulling people into this multi-level engagement trap. And that's the other thing too, man. Like I'm trying to do a little bit of buyer beware here on this platform. Understand that there are people here who do not have the best intentions, who are selling snake oil, like the same way you would see them on the street. These are the 3-card Monte dealers out there that, you see one thing here, but you don't see what's happening, off screen. You don't see what's happening there. And I'm just calling it how it is, man.
Yeah. And, I mean, at some level, right, like, it takes some skill to be good at 3-card Monte. So like they're doing something of, I don't know if you call it value or whatever.
There's some magic in there.
They're hacking something. They're hacking people, or they're hacking the platform or whatever. But again, like, again, I'm fine to eat a bag of chips once in a while. My whole diet's not going to be chips. So I want some actual steak. I want some meat. I want some sort of variety in the mix. But if it's all just potato chips and Cheetos and then Fritos, I'm running out of ideas of chips, but you get my point.
Yeah. I like those new dippers that they got there. They really optimize the shape of the chip to optimize your dipping. And I'm all for that. I also like that lime chip that came out a couple years ago. It's kind of weird, but in a good way.
Yeah, it like stings you eat too many of them and your tongue is stung for sure.
You're good.
Yeah.
Really good. So going back to it, I mean, it's really interesting too. I mean, really trying to understand people's motivation. And I've also kind of been trying to be a bit less sour because I stopped following those people. I'm not connected with them. I don't see them anymore on my thread. Those are not my audience. Those people that follow them are not my audience. So why the hell do I give a crap? And
that's right. That's a great point.
I've beaten that into my head over the last week, and I'm really trying to be positive and move on here. So let's take a little game break here. Nick, you like games?
I love games, yeah.
And it's so funny because we're talking about crap like engagement pods, which I'm really not going to get into. But I have this game called Pod Decks, and it's not really about engagement pods, but it's a deck of cards that has random questions on it. Cool. We're going to ask each other these questions and see how it goes. Everyone watching at home, you wanna play along with us? Here we go. I'm going to refresh the thread here. I don't know why it's not working here. I'm going to shuffle up this deck just so you can see it. It's kind of hard to see. And I'm just going to take a couple of cards off the top here. Okay, let's take a few in my hand here. Let's see if I can hold this up here. So I'm going to go from left to right on my screen and pick out. There's one. We'll call them 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 cards here. Pick 2 numbers. This being number 1.
2 and 5.
We're going to go 2 and 5 here. Here we go. So here comes the first question to Nick. Ooh, going back on the food theme here. If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It would be like a rice meat bowl. I feel like I could eat that forever. Just a bowl of like rice and meat.
That's interesting because one of my favorite things in the world to eat is New York City street meat, the halal street meat.
Yeah.
I think if I put aside any stomach gastro issues, I could totally get into it. Yeah. Right? Like if I knew that it wasn't going to mess me up for the next 3 days and I wouldn't be able to leave my house, so that's fine. For me, it would be a perfect cheeseburger. It would be a perfect cheeseburger, American cheese, sauteed onions, ketchup. That's it for me.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, I can. I would maybe put an egg on it too if I want to make it a breakfast burger.
Breakfast size.
I've never tried. I've tried it. Sometimes I like a little avocado in there. Gabe says pizza. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Wow. Okay. What is something you hate but wished you loved?
That's a good one, man.
Right?
I hate waking up for the gym. I see people at the gym in the morning, dude, and they're just like on it. And like every day I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? 15 minutes, maybe it's exercise. Like I don't love it. I do it every day, but I feel like I hate it.
I hate it. And I know I have to do it. And I've been getting into it. I started this Orange Theory fitness thing. And I feel like I should love it, but I hate it. And have you ever done the Orange Theory? You ever try that?
I have not tried it, but I've heard what sound like horror stories to me.
It's a little bit culty. It's a little bit culty, and I like it. And I could go off on a tangent there. But one of the things that they do for cardio are these rowers that are water, right? The water rowers where you're pulling it through the water for the resistance. And I despise it. I mean, I literally.
Is there actually water?
Yeah, there's water in the resistance
tray or something
at the end. What's that?
Okay, so there's actually water in the machine that you're using.
It's in the machine, right? You're not like sitting in water there. All right, let's.
Yeah. No, I'm with it.
I'm gonna pick a random. Oh God, the camera's off here. Let's pick this one here. The food theme continues. Here we go. What would be the worst ingredient to fill a burrito with?
Oh gosh, I don't know, like spaghetti.
I could go for a pasta burrito though. I think that could work.
That would be a gut bomb, dude.
If I rolled, it would be a gut bomb for sure. I think if you rolled the burrito with like spaghetti and you put a little bit of ricotta cheese in there, maybe you cut up some meatballs, it could actually be pretty good.
Now you're selling. There might be that might be an idea there actually.
I think I'm gonna go with a Russian delicacy called tranka, which is salted cod, dried salted cod.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just an easy one there.
Yeah.
Fish, yes. Michael says fish, but I've tried the poke wraps, Michael. I've tried the poke wrap, which is basically like a sushi hand roll. So I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I think that could be good too.
Yeah, that could be good.
Because burrito in Japanese is just
talking about what he hates but should love or something.
All right, we're gonna go one more here to wrap up today's LinkedIn Live here. Oh God, this one. My wife would hate me on this one. Would you rather go 30 days without your phone or your entire life without dessert?
I'm not a big dessert guy, so I would say the dessert.
I do love dessert, but I love my phone even more. But now I got this watch, and which, if I'm going to call it technicality,
you can get it. You can get
dessert. I'm going to get rid of my phone, and I'm going to keep my watch here.
What a trade-off! 30 days for the rest of versus the rest of your life. That's kind of a big trade-off.
Real-time feedback. What do you think of the pod deck game during the live LinkedIn?
I love it, dude. I think it's a great mechanism. Yeah, I love it.
It's fun, and I'm a sucker for Instagram ads. Are you?
I'm not on Instagram really that much, but my wife sure loves Instagram.
I love Instagram. So I got this watch, which I still don't know if I love it or not. My birthday's coming up on Sunday, so anybody who wants to send me gifts, that'll be great.
An iPhone watch?
Yeah, it's the Apple 5 watch, which is pretty cool, and it's something I have no need for. I really have no need for it, but I love it. It's one of those things that I absolutely love. I'm growing to love it. It's got a bunch of cool crap on it. That's pretty awesome. So certainly getting into that. But the other day let me just shut it off here. The other day I responded. I looked deeper into an ad that was selling the watch bands because they're interchangeable. You can take them on.
Yeah.
And now my feed is littered. Every other post is another watch thing. I'm like, you guys need to bring that down a notch. I get it.
The algo is tracking. Boy, this guy must just only want to see watch bands.
All I want to see is watch bands. So my entire feed has been watch bands. So they got to go off that. Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to talk about? Pitch? What's coming up in your week? What do you got ahead? Who do you have coming up on your podcast?
Yeah, I got a couple of cool guests coming up in the podcast. This week I have a board meeting. So the board meeting weeks are always crazy, but we fly into Salt Lake City for that. So that should be cool. And then actually have a couple of in a fixed mindset, what you'd call a competitor coming on my podcast, but
cool.
I don't think success is sort of limited. It's like information. It's like your success has nothing to do with my success. So a couple of like-minded people who are literally in the same business that I'm in. And so they'll be coming on, someone from HR Acuity and Shannon, who runs Whistleblower Security, which is another hotline case management company. So that's coming up.
That's awesome. And Nick, where could folks find you? Where could they connect with you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Nick Gallo, or N Gallo, I think is my handle, or through our website, complianceline.com.
I love it. Awesome. And to everyone watching here, I just dropped episode 57 with Nick Hayden, this freaking awesome young up-and-comer sports marketing. This guy oozes tenacity. I absolutely love him. Cool. 57 came up. I am skipping ahead, and I'm going to jump to episode somewhere in the mid-60s. And I have Enrico Rubio from Hacking HR, who's coming on the podcast next week. I want to coincide it with his launch of his big, huge online marketing conference. That's going to be awesome. Gabe, I'll get to you offline with all of your questions. We'll address that as well. Bunch of great shows coming up. I have so many great guests. Fingers crossed, little teaser here. In May, I am on the verge of booking former governor of New York City, David Patterson, coming on. For anybody that doesn't know, he's the guy that stepped in for Elliot Spitzer when Spitzer was here in New York.
Wow. That'll be cool.
Really cool. So trying to switch things up on the podcast, bring some more life stories in here, inspirational stories. Really just want to bring people to life and let them shine here like you, Nick.
Well, you got a gift for this, man. I've been on a couple of these, and this is not just because you said such nice things about me. I'm telling you, you got a gift for it. You keep it moving. You keep it, you let people kind of tell their story. I think you got a real talent for it. So I'm glad we got connected. I've enjoyed all the episodes of yours that I've heard. I've probably heard more than your mom. So tell her to get on to download the app and start listening, huh?
Yeah, Mom, get with it. All right, everybody watching along at home, watching on the replay, watching live, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on the podcast live. And please check out thepodcast.com for all of your favorite episodes. And Nick, I appreciate you. Everyone have a great day and keep it real. And remember, take your online, offline people. Take care.
Take it easy.
Bye. And that's how we